A cruel persecution instituted by the Danish king Worm against the Christian believers AD 926. It is recorded that AD 926 there appeared from another quarter than the one which we have spoken, namely from Denmark, a cruel tyrant who was king of said country and whose name accorded well with his deeds. His name was Worm, and whatever he did was gnawing, biting, and devouring, so that he inflicted much vexation, misery, and grief upon the followers of the Christian faith, in persecuting, tormenting, and, as appears, killing and destroying them. Of this tyrant P.J. Twisk makes mention with these words: "At this time there was in Denmark King Worm, a cruel tyrant and persecutor of the Christian faith." Note, King Worm was not the first tyrant that had arisen in Denmark, seeing we spoke in the preceding century of the tyranny which the Danes then practiced against the Christian believers just before the account of this Danish persecution. We lamented, and this for good reasons, that not more than 2 martyrs are mentioned in the whole persecution, but very little of their confessions, except the circumstances. But here we have still more reason for regret, since not a single person is mentioned of all those who were persecuted and martyred, though their number, it seems, was very great. Moreover, their confession of faith, upon which, nevertheless, many, to all appearance, suffered and were martyred or put to death, is not mentioned at all. Still, this matter is not utterly devoid of light or information, seeing as it is stated of the tyrant who instituted said persecution that he was a persecutor of the Christian faith. Whether then he persecuted all who bore the name of Christians, or only the Christian believers, who seem to have been had in view here, it is evident that the true and sincere believers who, having no settled place of abode, being scattered throughout the world, did not escape, for they necessarily often had to live among the nominal, yea, among the wicked Christians, with whom they frequently, when distress arose, had to suffer, though not for the same reason. I will not speak of the fact that the wicked Christians themselves, whenever it pleased them, persecuted the faithful and good Christians exceedingly, and after many torments put them to death in a worse manner than the heathen did, so that, to all appearance, said tyrant, when he had persecuted the Christian believers, or, as our author says, the Christian faith, he puts to death not a few, or at least here and there some, of the orthodox and the true Christians on account of their faith, besides what they often had to suffer from others. Here we will let the matter rest, and will take a similar view and judge in like manner according to the nature and rule of divine love, also of other persecutions of the Christian believers, of which we may subsequently speak, taking care, however, not to present persecutions concerning which there may be evidence that these persecuted were not faithful and sincere, but merely apparent or professed Christians, for of the former we shall search, but the latter we shall avoid. We shall now proceed in our task.